talk about Super Bloom without Kayla Helton. Sasha, what are your thoughts on Kayla Helton? What should we be expecting to see this game?
Honestly, I feel like Kayla Helton's basically the LeBron of the WUL at this point. Like, I know the WL hasn't been around for that long, but multiple, I believe multiple MVP seasons, and she's just putting up numbers every single week, and it's very difficult to try to stop what she wants to do.
Yeah, and it looks like in their game versus Arizona, Super Bloom had Kayla Helton beat on O and T line. So that means that both lines for the Wild need to be able to stop her, which is an incredibly tough task.
Right, and in the podcast that I co-host for Ulti World in Double Overtime, me and my co-host talked a little bit about um, what we would do as coaches to tell our team how to stop Kayla Helton. And it just comes to the bottom line, like, you can't exactly stop her. You just have to limit her. And in my opinion, I think if they can keep her in the backfield, we need, like, Utah has to make her beat them with her throws rather than with her superior athleticism.
Her insane athleticism.
Yeah.
I was looking at her player profile on the WL stats page. Everyone go check out the stats page. We're able to see player profiles, and we're also able to see their throw, like where their primary throws are and their primary receiving areas are. And with Kayla, she is primarily receiving on the open side under, and she's primarily thrown to the break side. So that means that defenders aren't doing their jobs against her. She's so incredibly effective, and so it's going to be a real challenge for the Wild. Also, just we can talk about whether you can see that lovely Wild flag happening. And there's another flag in the background. It is, I would say, breezy today. I feel like the wind has been coming in short bursts, but primarily it's been picking up a little bit more, and I think it will continue to pick up as we get later into the evening. For those of you who haven't been to Judge Memorial High School, where the Wild host their home games, it is on a hill, and most times wind comes cross field. So it will be coming from the top of your screen down to the bottom of your screen. So we're going to see a lot of goals just in, I'm going to say, that southeast corner, which doesn't really mean anything to you as someone who is not here. But it's going to change the game. I'm sure we're going to see a little bit more zone. We're going to see some more swirling throws. And I'm interested to see how that will impact things.
Yeah, I think the name of the game today is limit your turnovers. If you can complete all of your passes in the wind, then you're going to have a much higher chance of being able to score.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to talk about key players on the Utah side. Utah recently lost their home opener to Colorado 2 weeks ago, and Utah was missing two key pieces. You're missing Lily Terpstra and Carly Atwell, who were gone winning Centex with University
Salt
of
Lake
Utah's
City.
Carly and Lily
Welcome
are
to the
both
second
incredibly
home
effective
game of your
handlers
Utah
and game
Wild of
changers
the
on the
Western
offensive and
Ultimate
defensive
League.
side. So
We
I'm
are
really
pleased to
excited to see
welcome
how
the
Wild
San Diego
adjusts with
Super
both of
Bloom
them
for
in their
today's
ranks,
game.
and they just are
We
so
would like to
crafty
begin
with
our
their throws, and they
ceremonies
work
with a
together
land
so well.
acknowledgement. The Utah Wild primarily operates on the
Looks like we are
ancestral
getting
lands
started
of
to
the
do our
Eastern
opening
Shoshone
ceremony,
Tribe,
so we're going to
Goshu
keep
Indian
yapping for a
Tribe,
little bit before this
Northwestern
game.
Band of the Shoshone Nation,
Yeah, Sasha,
Ute
anything
Indian
else that we
Tribe,
should
and
look
Shoshone
forward to,
Bannock tribes,
or things
land
that you really want to
colonially
see from
known
this
as the
team?
Salt Lake Valley and the
Some
Utah
other
Valley.
players to watch over on
And
the San
now,
Diego side. This is
let's
the
introduce our
season debut of
teams.
Abby Schultz.
Please give a
She
warm
wasn't.
welcome to our visiting
She
team,
didn't suit
the
up
San
against
Diego
who was it,
Super
Arizona,
Bloom.
Arizona.
a couple weeks ago. But yeah, so we'll be
Lining
able to
up
see
for
Abby
the
Schultz, a
Super Bloom
great
are
player.
number 0,
Also, Dina
Marta
Elamelik,
Pittman.
A classic.
classic,
Number 5,
just a
Kayla
staple in
Helton.
the California community.
Number 6,
Winning,
Gianna
having
Abrams.
all those crazy
Number
grabs and catches
7,
in college
Teresa
and throughout,
Zentner.
her career
Number
in
9,
club and
Rebecca
in the
Ellis.
professionals as well.
Mm-hmm.
Number
Yeah, she's
10,
really a
Mika
sports center. If a
Leslie.
sports center highlight reel was a person,
Number
I would say it's
11,
Dina
Right.
Elamelik.
Jones. Number 15,
Yeah, and I think,
Jessica
they do
Vaughn.
have newer coaches this year in
Number
San
18,
Diego, but it seems like they worked pretty well against Arizona,
Number 19,
where I
Amanda
don't
Ruffman.
remember the point difference, but
Number 20,
San Diego won
Emily
pretty
Moto.
handedly in a game, in that game, in their season opener, and I know they're really excited to do it again versus the Wild, a team they haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Like you said at the top, there's been a lot of turnover between both teams,
Mm-hmm.
but it's basically the same systems, so they should be fairly familiar,
Yeah.
hopefully. Um, But yeah, we'll see what happens.
And I mean, I think both of these teams are known for their athleticism. They're both teams that will be that grind. They work really hard, and I mean, when you have leaders like Kayla Helton, I mean, everyone wants to play their best, and she's definitely a player who brings everyone else up with her. And on the Wild side, I mean, they are so gritty when they play. Like you're gonna see bodies hitting the ground. Morgan Williams, who is a rookie on the Wild this year, got, I believe, 2 layout Ds in the last game and then a third block. And so she's someone that I would love to see more from, especially on the offensive side. Once she gets the turn on the D, she's definitely someone who has a nose for the end zone. And we're seeing Utah Wild start with their opening ceremony, so they're all going to be coming out, but it's going to be a great game. I'm interested to see if Wild has more varied offensive looks. They're a team in the past that has really relied on vertical stack. And so with Carly and Lily, I'm assuming playing O-line, we're going to see how their offense adjusts to both of those powerhouses. Because Carly didn't play last year. She took a year off, and now she's back, and we're thrilled to have her.
Right, and San Diego also really likes to do this like junky zone, especially their offense. If they end up turning it over, do a really junky zone. So being able to adjust to that zone as a D line can be difficult at times, but we just make the throws, find the open people, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, I heard a rumor that with Carly and Lily on the O-line that it's going to be offensive handlers. Carly, so Atwell, I got to switch over to last names, Atwell, Terpstra, and Songer, meaning that Paige Kircher will probably swap over and play more D points, which will be a big change in just tempo and throwing prowess from the Wild D-line.
Right, it's always exciting to see an offensive player switch over to the D-line to really, and you can tell a difference. Multiple teams I've been on, we've changed one of our primary offensive handlers over to the D-line, and our defensive efficiency after the block went up significantly.
Yeah, and I mean, Paige is a player who, or Kircher is a player who has many championships under her belt and just brings such chill to the game. Like, she's so fun and confident to watch. It also reminds me of last year when Utah Wild switched over Mackenzie Perquette, who's not on the team this year. She's taking a break. But when Perquette got moved over from O-line to D-line, there was just so much more consistency in the D-line completing it and getting the break. So we're going up for the coin flip. Let's see. San Diego Superbloom captains are Helton, Stambaugh, and Iwamoto. And Wild captains are Finnegan, Haruzhnikova, and Songer. So we got some people who have been in the league for a really long time, and I'm really excited to see new people take on those leadership roles like Finnegan for the Wild. And I can't remember if Iwamoto was a captain in the past, but I know she's just been such a leader on the team, captain or not.
Also one of the most dangerous throwers in this league.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Her throws, she just is so precise, and will see spaces that I've never seen in my life. So she's incredible. All right, looks like they are.
Wild will be receiving.
Thank you. So Wild will start on offense. Which normally they have preferred to, I believe, start on defense. So that'll be a good, interesting look. And I'm so excited to see what this game is going to be like.
San Diego Superbloom won the flip, and we'll start
Oh, Superbloom won and deferred. I like that.
I mean, when you're looking at the Western Ultimate League rule set, it's different than the UFA and USAU and PUL. So that means whoever at the start of the quarter, they switch who starts on offense and defense. So if you start on offense for the first quarter, you're starting on offense also for the third quarter. But when you're starting on defense for the first quarter, then the second and fourth quarters, you're receiving. So you're starting on offense, which is a huge advantage if and when that is a really tight game, which I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping to see something fun, something tight, and something gritty.
Right. I feel like with the timed format, it makes for some interesting, coaching decisions with timeouts, with like the possession game. I personally love it. Unlike the UFA, the WUL will have, when the buzzer sounds at the end of the quarter, we keep going.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think the jump ball is kind of dumb.
I'm a
but
jump ball hater. I think it built. I was talking with some people about this at the Wild after party for the last game, and they were like, "I think we should do at least a second and fourth quarter jump ball." And I'm like, "No, I think it builds the tension. It values possession, and I think it's much better time management. Even though sometimes it is a little boring to watch some great handlers swing the disc back and forth, so the time to run out. That is still strategy, and that is something that still needs to be communicated in a game where they traditionally don't care that much about clock. So, I'm a jump ball hater. I really like the possession. Okay, so we get our first look at the Wild O-line. They're already on the field. San Diego is not. We have Songer, Terpstra, Atwell, Seedall, who I don't think she played last game. Or if she did, it was very minimal minutes. Hruzhnikova, Davis, and Cassie Williams. We have 2 Williams on the Wild, Cassie and Morgan. Good news is that they tend to play different lines, and Cassie is, let's see, I'm looking how tall. Cassie's 5'10", and Morgan is 5'6" and brunette, so there is a little bit of difference in vibes when we're talking about Williams, so hopefully we'll try and keep that consistent throughout.
Bittersweet, kind of glad but not glad Molly Robbins isn't on the team anymore. Because it was very difficult
She's
to
my
distinguish.
white whale.
Very difficult to distinguish between her and Cass Williams.
I know. All right, and then it looks like for the San Diego D-line, there's Julia Peden. They're all kind of turned away from me, and their numbers are on the opposite side, so we're going to be learning as we go. But Kayla Helton with the pull. We're so excited to see what she can do out here. Songer centering to Terpstra, and it looks like San Diego is already in that zone.
Yeah, nice flat 3-3-1 zone with Kayla Helton lurking deep.
That's a threat no one wants to see, but it looks like the Wild handlers are just swinging it back and forth, trying to find that space for the cutters to get that continuation going.
Yeah, nice little cut right up the middle to get some yards.
And since it's a players counted 7-second stall, it is Wild players all players need to move very fast when they have the disc.
Yeah, it almost ends up becoming 5 sometimes.
Oh yeah, if you count it, it's like 4.5. So
it's very quick.
And they're still dishing it back and forth. We have Atwell back to Songer, to Terpstra, back to Atwell. They've been able to get some chunk yards there, but it's been pretty slow going. But still, they seem very confident and casual. And Terpstra with just a little over the head to Cass Williams.
They're being very patient, not forcing anything into any tight spaces, just finding the open person and getting it to them.
And I believe Atwell, Terpstra, and Songer all played club together. And I do think that also helps with this type of chemistry in these tough situations. We have Songer getting close to the sideline. But Wild has been able, and then Cass Williams being able to find that open spot.
Looks like they switched to a person defense now.
Definitely looks like it's more of a match. And Wild is trying to adjust to that now, because going from just a swingy zone to a person is a bit of a task for cutters. It's now centered to Hruzhnikova, back to Songer, who throws a nice little blade to Terpstra, and she brings it down! Incredible grab by Lily Terpstra for that bladey outside-in flick.
First point of the game, and we already have a highlight. I love it.
And probably more importantly for the Wild, a clean hold, which is sometimes evasive of them. And versus that really tough zone where they were putting they were front loading the handler space, it makes it so hard to find just those cheeky insides or ways around it. And so Wild being able to just slowly make their way up with that handler movement, incredible.
Right, if you've never played handler on offense through a zone, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I mean, I love doing it, but it's not easy. You have to push the tempo and pull back the tempo constantly throughout the entire point, and it's a really mind, bending part of the game.
Yeah, it's so tough, and it's just so mentally, like, it takes a lot of energy. So we'll see how that happens, how that changes throughout the game and as players get more tired. So now we have the Wild on defense. Arizona or San Diego receiving. Arizona's our next game. Bunderson pulls Iwamoto with the disc. Centers up to Walter. Inside to Eli Melik. And Wild is also coming out in his own, but it seems like San Diego is just moving so much faster. Iwamoto with the disc, and just a wide open, I believe, Juan, who has that with the assist, and great grab by number 38, Abby Schiltz. So you're right, she's making her mark right away. And that was just some quick offensive movement by San Diego.
Yeah, I think they just saw, Wild coming down in a zone and just decided to move it as fast as they can so that the defense was never able to really get set. And then by the time it was time to switch to that match person defense, there were still people wide open to be able to hit them really quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And they were just so smart. I believe Jessica Juan finding that just end, or that big outside edge for her to throw the assist at the end. So, yeah, San Diego just moved really quickly. All right, looks like Helton is back on the field, as well as Avery Jones, who's just such a powerhouse. She's such a fun player to watch.
Let's hear it, fans.
Terpstra picks up and centers to Songer. Over to Atwell. And it looks like, San Diego is in much more of a person defense, but Norris just isn't able to bring it in. Abrams picking up. Looking for Jones. Tight pressure from Norris makes it so Jones can't bring it in.
The redemption.
Williams back over to Terpstra. Over to Moulton.
Terpstra finds Kate Moulton downfield.
Moulton had an incredible game against Colorado also. Oh.
Back to Lily,
but less a bit of a tight decision, I think, by Moulton there, because there were two people who were kind of open, but not enough to be a clear.
Abrams to pick up again.
Abram picks.
There goes Kayla Helton.
Looking for Kayla Helton in the deep space. But
Songer was there. I think it just floated for too long. Songer's able to get a piece of it.
Yeah, great read by Kat Songer there.
Great defensive pressure from Songer.
Bigham with the disc.
Lily finds Corey up the line.
To Songer. Who puts it up for Bigham, but there's pressure from, whoa! Great grab by Bigham, and incredible pressure by Rozicki Shaw. She's, I believe, a new Super Bloom, and I'm glad to see her bring that defensive pressure, but
yeah,
Corey's great.
Yeah, glad to see Corey back on the team after taking a year off, one of the primary goal scorers for this squad, and hoping to see it even more this year.
Yeah, I'm sure she is too, so yeah. Great grab. I think that was the first not clean hold, but Wild was able to get it back, which I think is just as important. And I'm excited to see if Wild decides to come out in that zone again, or if they also choose to go out in person. It looks like, looking at the flag, it's still a little breezy, but definitely not as blustery as our first point.
It's seeming like there's like a headwind crosswind a head tail instead of crosswind right now,
yeah.
Just judging on the way the throws are going.
Yeah, I do think it's also important that southeast or that south end zone, so on your left side of the screen, kind of is a little bit better for the wind. I wouldn't say incredibly so, but that is where people are scoring. So, coincidence?
Carolyn Lober with the pole.
Lober with the pole.
Avery Jones.
Center to Ishii.
To you, Ishii. And we are off.
San Diego came out in a side stack there.
I feel like they love a side stack. Rutland back to Ishii.
I feel like it's a very California thing, the side stack.
Let's see if Peden can grab it. She can. Wow. Great grab by Peden. Yeah, yet again, just some incredibly quick offense. So it's been all holds.
We are thrilled to announce the official brewery of Utah Wild for 2025. The Wills
Yeah,
are
so we see
green.
San Diego come out in that side stack, and I think Wild had some really great defensive pressure, but San Diego just moved so quickly. And I mean, that was a contested grab by Peden, but she was able to keep her eyes on the disc and just really reel it in.
Right. It's one of those where, as a coach, I'm not mad about it.
Wilder Brewing, right
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it was good defense, but this game is so
This venue is
like it's more advantageous for the offense in every facet of this game
Yeah.
that you gotta take what you can.
Yeah. A goal's a goal at the end of the day, so
All counts the same.
Super Bloom.
Schiltz with the pull. Atwell picking up.
Pick up for the Wild.
Centers to Songer.
To Songer.
Over to Davis.
To Abby Davis, wide open in the middle of the field.
To Harushnikova.
Up to Kira.
Harushnikova thought about putting it to Bigham and decides not to. Sends it back to Terpstra. To Norris.
And a great catch by Amy Norris.
To Bigham. Wow. Great grab. He swings it over to Songer. Over to Atwell. So Wild has changed the field of play. With an inside to Terpstra.
Inside shot to Lily, who
Back to Harushnikova.
and that's
Just some clean O here.
I like clean O.
Wild.
I like the clean O. It's how you win games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, holds are what is expected from O lines. And I think, yeah, that doesn't mean defensively I mean, it does mean, I guess, defensively that San Diego's doing a bad job and Utah's doing a bad job. But it just means that our O lines are really locked in and they're able to build those connections and work really well together.
Right, and I feel like as soon as that first break happens, it might start a little train going. So, each team is always looking for that first break to try to get the momentum in their favor to be able to continue and just grow a lead.
Yeah. And I mean, it looks like it's a little bit windier, but also I'm seeing Helton and Ellie Mellick on the same line. So we'll see if that changes things.
And they launch it.
Great pull.
Margot Nissen to pick up.
Pick up by Nissen, who gives it to Abrams.
Centers to Dion.
And Wild's coming out in that zone. Iwamoto with the disc. Wow! Incredible lay D by Cherwink. Oh my god.
Justine!
Carolyn.
And
Wow.
Loberg,
Wow,
who
how did she
Hayes
get that?
reels it in.
In the end.
How did
Incredible.
that happen?
And that's
One of the
Wild
biggest things I was most excited about this game is to watch Justine Cherwink, and I got it. I'm happy. I can go home.
Oh my gosh. And Ava Hayes is a new player to the Wild. She's played for Team USA. I know she's young. I don't know her actual age. But we're just so excited to see that new, fresh talent succeed and thrive in the Wild. So I'm so thrilled that she got on the stat sheet. And holy cow, what a point.
5 to 10 more of those this game.
All right, so another Wild D-line.
All right, your Utah
I think the wind is picking up a little bit, so let's see if these breaks come in pairs.
We've got Liz Bunderson back on the pull.
Oh, Bunderson is pulling again. Bunderson is an incredible thrower, and I know there's nothing more they love in the world than just yeeting the disc. So
Yeet. Wow.
look at them go.
Pull is up. Avery Jones to bring it
Jones
back.
centering.
Ishii to Jones.
And the Super Bloom handlers just swinging it back and forth. Jones with the disc.
Ooh, little bobble.
Over to Ishii.
To Caitlin Weaver.
Up to Weaver.
Caitlin Weaver's a new addition to this team this year. Previously played with LA Astra, and is also a very dangerous player.
Oof. And Peden just not able to bring it in, but that was a great cut, just a little low.
Anna McClurkin.
We have McClurkin with the disc. Over to Bunderson. To Kircher, D-line Kircher.
Who finds
Back
Ava
to Hayes.
up the line.
To Kircher.
Back to Paige.
With a scoober to Finnegan.
Up to Kenzie.
Swings it to McClurkin. who keeps the disc moving to Kircher. Oh, and just a little short from McClurkin. I think she might have gotten tangled up.
The turf monster got her.
Yeah. This turf is not great, if I'm being honest. Jones picking up. Over to Weaver. And Weaver was able to move Cherwink, but no one was there. Up to Ishii. Ooh, I don't know if that was in. Oh, okay. Observer calls in. Oh, but... And, I mean, the roll lost a lot of yards for the Wild. So we'll see. This is our, I think now our first multi-turn point. Bunderson picking up. Looking for Kircher. Finds her and able to get that good momentum. Over to Cherwink. Over to Hayes. And just changing the field of play got Wild a ton of yards. Back up to Kircher on a strike. Looking for Finnegan. Knocking on the door of the red zone. And Ava Hayes again! That's 2 breaks for Ava Hayes and the Utah Wild D-line.
That is incredible. The patience that this D-line is showing today is textbook.
It's incredible.
Like, nothing has been forced. There's been a few miscues, but nothing has been incredibly forced, and that is what you want from a D-line offense. In my opinion, as a coach, I would tell my defensive line to play as boring as possible because breaks are so important in this game that if we can just make it boring, make that offense grind out on D and be able to just take up as much time and get up the field and score, then we win.
Yeah, exactly. It is like it's a possession-based game, and it is really important to play that chill offense, even if you are a D-line that's like, woohoo, we just got a big old layout D. And I also think some of those miscommunications come from Kircher moving over. Kircher didn't play with that line in the last game, and they had Finnegan back instead. And so trying to figure out your roles and places and timing is really important. All right, centering to Ellis. Back over to Walter. And Wild in a zone, but San Diego's running a side stack. It looks like they are maybe still in a person. But Ellis and Helton just running together.
Rebecca Ellis is a very quietly, insanely good player.
Oof. Just a little too high for Ellie Melick. I think that outside in flick, especially on the top side of the field, it's not going to be as successful anymore. I'm assuming the wind's going to keep picking up throughout the evening.
Right, it's been pushing a little long and a little to the left going as you're looking at it.
Finnegan with the disc. Back to Lober. To Kircher. And Lober able to keep it in along the line to Knutson. Wow, with the layout. Back to Lober on the strike. Swinging it to Kircher. Oh, and Ludak just not able to bring it in. It was a little bit behind her. But, I mean, a great place to turn it if you do. Iwamoto picking up. Swinging over to Ellie Melick, who boosts it to Helton. Lober right behind. And Lober gets the D. Oh, it might have been a foul called. I'm assuming because they are talking.
Crowd does not like that
crowd
call.
Does not agree.
And it looks like
no call.
Yeah.
Okay, Kircher with the disc, no mark. Shooting for Shelke. Let's see if she can bring it in.
Horse.
Oh! Iwamoto picking up over to Ellis. Back to Iwamoto. Yet again, they're getting off to the races. Ellie Melick with the disc. Over to Helton. With an inside to Juan. To Ellie Melick. Over to Iwamoto. San Diego just seems much chiller at moving the disc this point, or at least in this possession, I'll say. Iwamoto looking for Helton. Able to find her. Back up to Ellis because McCready went to go help
Ellis looking.
to Helton, who finds Walter.
Walton on the doorstep.
And just
finds
Ellie
Ellie
Malik standing at the
Malik
front of the
in
stack.
end zone.
Yeah, that possession was a lot more chill, a lot more,
Utah Wild
I guess you'd say,
5,
regimented than the other previous possessions in this point. And that's ultimately, and I mean, it was a long point, and they were able to grind it out a little better.
Yeah, I think they were able to reset a little bit more after the turn with Shelke. And Iwamoto was able to get the disc moving quickly and comfortably with Ellis. But there's only 59 seconds left in this quarter. So I'm sure San Diego is hungry for the D because if they score, they will also start on offense for the next quarter, assuming this point takes longer than a minute.
Right. So expect a lot of pressure from this San Diego team, and as well as hopefully a lot of patience out of this Utah Wild team to be able to hold on to this disc for the next minute.
I will say I don't see Helton or Ellie Malik out there, but I do see Weaver and Avery Jones. Terpstra in the center. Oh, and just throws it back to Abrams. Abrams with the disc again. Over to Weaver. Back to Abrams looking for 81. Gets it back to Nissen. Finding 21. Oh my goodness! And a big layout grab by Abrams to save the possession and get the point.
We call that cleaning up the trash.
Why you always got to know where the disc is. I think they were looking for Rosiski Shaw, but I mean, yet again, I think the top side of the field, that's where the wind is coming in. We're going to see a lot more floaty discs, so people have to be much more heads up.
Is that the first break for Super Bloom this
That
game?
is the first break for Super Bloom. So there are 20 seconds left, so I guess I was wrong. This point did take less than a minute. And yeah, 20 seconds left, so I know, yet again, Super Bloom wants to get the turn and just play the disc, play possession. If they're able to stop Wild from scoring and ideally score themselves, then they will be in a really good spot to start the second quarter.
Might be tied and receiving, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Ellie Malik with the full up for San Diego Super Bloom. And that is a floater.
Songer picking up the disc, and Super Bloom coming out in a zone. Atwell's able to grab it. Okay, clock is out, so Wild, it will end either with a score from Wild or a turn. But San Diego will not have a chance to return it, and
with a turn.
it ends with a turn. I mean, smart of Wild to just dish it back and forth from their handlers to make sure San Diego doesn't have a second chance and the ability to get another break.
Right. Like I was saying earlier, the clock makes it a lot more fun, in my opinion, just having to think more strategy rather than, we just have to score a point.
Exactly. So we will see what's next. The score is 4-5 San Diego, Utah. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Thanks so much. And we are back for the second quarter of San Diego Super Bloom at Utah Wild. Wild starts on defense with a pull that lands just on the sidelines. They are trapped. Iwamoto with the disc. And Wild in a zone. Iwamoto able to get it over to Walter.
Up to Weaver.
And to Weaver. Back to Iwamoto, who throws it over to Ellis. Back to Weaver, who swings it over to Walter, being able to kind of get some more space and time. Ellis back to Walter. To Ellis. We have, oh yeah, Hilton with the disc.
San
Sorry.
Diego is really attacking the middle of that little diamond.
I was
that
going to
Wild
say,
has.
Ellis was eating that space up. Ellis back with the disc, looking to Walter. It looks like Wild is still in that zone. And a floaty throw to Weaver.
Throw over to Weaver.
To Iwamoto.
Iwamoto
With just a scoober over to Walter. That's 2 scoobers this point. And Weaver not in,
on the line.
but to Iwamoto, who's just not marked.
In the end zone, and that's gonna be a super
Sasha,
score.
how do you feel about teams staying in the zone or crumbling as they get to the red zone?
Iwamoto, we've got
I personally
5
think
on the scoreboard.
we should stay in the zone.
Okay.
Because once you get into a smaller space, you don't have to cover as much ground.
True.
And so, therefore, it is a little easier to stay in your shape and stay in the spots where you want to be able to block any throws coming downfield.
I agree. I think that if you're going to stay in a zone, you should either determine like an amount of throws to say like, hey, we're going to do this for the first 5 throws just to really throw them off, or you try and stay in the zone, because I think that's where we got some confusion with the Wild, and they were still taking up space, but they weren't really on people at that point. They were just taking space.
Right. And it used to be the meta that you would change out of the zone about at the break mark, but everybody has found out that like people are getting better at throwing, people are getting better at cutting. Once that starts to switch off, able to attack and take advantage of the confusion.
Oh, Songer with a throw to Bigham. There was some contact between Bigham and Rutland. And so I believe Bigham's calling, oh, maybe nothing. Maybe a foul contest. Observer calls no foul.
So that is a turnover, and San Diego will pick up on the, what is this, the 47-yard line?
Yeah, sure. We have Abrams picking up over to Ellie Mellick with an inside, oh, it was very spicy, to Rozicki Shaw.
That's going to be Utah Wild disc. Terpstra to put it in play for the Wild.
Terpstra with the disc. Over to Songer. Back over to Terpstra. Kruzhnikova was open, but it was right in the middle of that transition. Songer still maintaining possession. Oh, and just too wide of a swing to Atwell, and San Diego's knocking on the door.
That's tough. Those backfield turnovers are tough, especially when your back is at the end zone.
And Nissen just throws it right on over to Ellie Mellick. And so now it's 2 breaks per team. And San Diego's now up. And I think Wild's going to be having some regrets on that, because it definitely felt like, especially that second turn, it was because San Diego was pretty tight downfield, but Wild, their checkdowns just weren't happening as quickly as they needed them to, which resulted in some of those, the Songer slide and grab, as well as the just overthrow to Atwell.
Right, and it's just things that happen. You know, it
It
happens
do
to
be like
everybody.
that.
Yeah.
Lily Terpstra and Carly Atwell, who'd like to shout out their college team, Spiral.
Yeah, and I think, like, I've heard some strat from the one, the only Paige Kircher, and the way that she talks about it is, like, O-lines are expected to hold, but it is unfair to expect them to hold the entire game. Like, breaks happen, but the expectation should also be on the D-line to get those breaks back, which has happened so far. Atwell with the disc to Davis. Oh, and that was, I believe, a foul Contact on the hand from the mark, Abby Schiltz. From what I saw, it looked hand-to-hand contact.
Yeah, it was very close. I feel like it was either hand-to-hand or the disc was still in
Yeah.
Abby's hand.
Yeah, so the disc is going back to Davis.
Stay with the Utah Wild.
Haruzhnikova still kind of open, but if Stambach edges in, then it's going to be an incredibly tight throw. So a smart play back to Terpstra, who dishes it right back to Davis. Terpstra to Haruzhnikova.
Yak on the sideline.
To Terpstra. Back to Atwell. Wild is losing some yards, but I think they are still playing chilly.
Wild.
To Songer.
Use the break side.
I think San Diego's been playing some really smart switch D in this vertical stack.
Up to Davis.
Davis
Yeah, I've been watching Kayla Helton go to 3 different people
Over to
guarding them,
Atwell.
guarding lanes.
Yeah, I watched her pick up, I believe, Williams just so well to stop a really good break side throw.
Spinning pass.
Williams keeps the possession. Oh, and same with Songer. Wow.
Songer comes down with it.
Over to Terpstra. With just a cheeky throw to Atwell. Is someone there? Oh,
Clean
it's
up the trash.
no, wait, it's.
Recover.
Oh my goodness. It is Seedall. Oh my goodness.
Maddie Seedall.
I got confused by the braids. I did think it was Haruzhnikova, but an incredible save by Maddie Seedall. Yet again, another young player on the Wild this year.
Seedall is a first-year Utah Wild.
Cleaning up more trash.
I mean, that's the second heads-up, basically layout save we've had for points this game. So we're going to keep seeing that coming as the flag is blowing a little bit harder.
I love seeing both teams, almost the entire team putting their bodies on the line for this game.
And this turf is sharp. That is what I've heard.
I hate turf. I'm not gonna lie.
My solution as a personal player who doesn't, my choice is just to not lay out. And that's why I'm here talking instead of playing.
Or you're just so fast that you don't need to lay out.
That's why I'm here talking. No, these players are so incredible, and just their love of the game and competition is phenomenal. Ellis centering to Iwamoto. Wild back in that zone, but no one on Ellie Melik, who boosts it to number 30 Bile, who's able to bring it in. Rozicki Shaw just open, but Cherwink is able to drop and pick her up.
Some incredible defense by Cherwink right now.
Walter with the disc.
She's
Ooh, and just able to slice through on that inside to Nissen. But yeah, that was an incredible switch by Cherwink in a really high pressure situation.
right. If you want to know how to play defense on that front cone, look at Justine Cherwink in this specific point.
Yeah.
With your Utah Wild at 6.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so it's still such a tight game.
On serve now.
On serve, yes. Yeah, and also weather-wise, I think it's like roughly mid-50s outside, which is like a little chilly, and why you see people in jackets. But for playing, kind of perfect.
It feels great.
You can wear a long sleeve and shorts. You can wear some nice leggings and a top. So pretty nice for players.
With the extremely low humidity of Utah, 50 degrees feels amazing.
Honestly, yeah. Abrams with the pull. Terpstra picking up. Centers to Atwell.
Centers to Carly Atwell.
Over to Bigham.
Nice around to Corey.
To Atwell. Back over to Terpstra. And the Super Bloom defenders are pulling off really far on the handlers. And Moulton just shoots it up for Cass Williams. But just, yet again, I think that outside in flick is not going to be the move soon.
Yeah, especially with the angle that Moulton threw that on. It was a very steep angle.
Very vertical.
Margot to pick up.
Nissen picking up, I believe. And San Diego setting up in a horizontal stack and Wild in person. Who just, wow, Nissen just puts it up.
believe that's Abby Schultz and Corey Bingham. The 38
Wow.
battle.
Incredible D by Bigham. You could tell that she saw it and wanted it and set her area very quickly. Songer overthrows to Atwell, and Ishii just eats that up. Oh, Moulton. Oh, couldn't get it. So Nissen with the disc.
Nissen with the disc.
Up to Weaver.
Looks to
Not
Weaver
in.
Just outside the end zone.
Wow, and a
Weaver
great
with a
grab
nice
by
up
Abby
to
Schultz.
Abby Schultz, number 38.
And that's another break.
That's another break, so now we are not on serve. It is 6-8, so a 2-point difference. Yeah, I mean, just San Diego moved so quickly. I think it obviously really helped that Ishii was able to bring that down, and they were able to move so quickly. And Wild needed to get their defense set, which meant that Super Bloom could get more yards. Wild was able to stop those initial uplines, but I mean, when you have 3, and then Abby Schultz was able to come at a horizontal angle and get that goal.
It looked good.
It looked good.
Clinical.
Yeah. Yeah, it just looked like Wild was caught on their heels a little bit. Yeah, so we're about halfway through the quarter. It's definitely getting windy. Sorry I keep saying that, but it's gonna keep happening.
It's a great pull from Elimelech.
Atwell, centering. Over to Hruzhnikova.
Little sag off of the handlers here by San Diego.
Terpstra. Ooh, is not able to get the disc to Atwell. See, that's Ishii over to Ellis, or to Jones, sorry. Back to Jones. Wow, over to Stambaugh. To Jones. Ooh, and close there, but Helton with the disc. Looking to Jones and just turns it. I'm sure Wild is very grateful by that turn. Songer with the disc now. To a wide open Davis. To Hruzhnikova. Back to Songer. Swinging the field to Terpstra. Over to Atwell. Just back to Terpstra. To Hruzhnikova. And San Diego's making it pretty difficult for Wild because there's a lot of switching on the cuts. I'm assuming that was a pick called or a timeout. Oh, a timeout called by Wild. And I think that was a smart call because you only get 2 timeouts per half, so you might as well use it while your team is just swinging the disc back and forth and giving your O-line a chance to reset, or you can start a play, or even get new personnel in there. They're allowed to switch out one player or all players.
Right. I think the coaches just saw that they weren't really advancing the disc, and they weren't exactly getting open when they needed to. And so that's a great timeout call to reset, get the offense on, and to be able to punch this goal in.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see if Wild continues to set up. I believe that was a vert stack, but it didn't look very disciplined, though I was paying attention primarily to the handlers.
Actually, this is the offense.
Yeah, this is the O-line already, and so it looks like I'm not sure if there are going to be many personnel changes. It looks like Atwell's still out there, Songer's still out there, Williams is out there. So, yeah, we'll see what they end up doing. It looks like Wild might be setting back up in that vert stack. It looks like pretty similar personnel. I believe Terpstra might be off. But we have Songer standing over the disc. And if you can see the San Diego defense, they are set up in a sag. They are ready for those switches. They are ready to move around. And Atwell is able to bring it down. And Iwamoto, just an incredible mark, making it really hard. Throws into traffic, but Bigham skies Helton and puts it up for Davis with an incredible grab Holy cow!
Play after sick play.
Wow.
I am sure Wild is thrilled to get that momentum back, get their groove back a little bit, and reset, because that was a fantastic sky by Bigham under tight pressure by someone who was on a World Games roster.
We all know Corey's going to be talking about that for a while.
She's going to make her own highlight reel, and I hope this clip is in it because I love her so much. But that was, and it was such a good, well-weighted throw. It didn't seem impacted by the wind, even though it was an outside-in backhand, which that direction has a tendency to pop up a little bit more. And Davis brings it down under 2 defenders, so...
And I believe there was a timeout called
A
by
timeout
San
called
Diego
by
here.
San Diego. Like I said, you only get 2 timeouts per half. You might as well use them, baby.
All right, your Utah Wild's going to be back on defense.
So that means that the Wild defense has a chance to kind of set up a play. You can do things more. You can have a little bit more time to set things up. Between points in the WL, it's 1 minute. That is literally
fast.
no time to be like, okay, and then when you're going to cut here, and then you're going to cut here. There's no time. And so most of the talking and planning happens between points, which sideline is also just as important to the game of Ultimate as game planning is. So it's been, I think Wild probably appreciates the chance, and San Diego needs to take a breath and say, we need to punch this in so they do not get a break on us.
Right, those time in between points is crucial, and it is very quick. Having played a couple games myself in the professional leagues, it's very fast. You get almost 0 instruction. You just got to get out on the line and go.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, we've practiced this enough that hopefully we all know what we're doing. Bunderson with the pull.
That's an incredible pull.
Incredible. To Iwamoto, to Walter, who were able to just kind of work it up the field. Back to Walter. Over to Weaver. Oh, and it just slips out of Weaver's hands.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. Kircher picking up. Ooh, yeah, and that was a great run through D by number 30, Bile. Weaver with the disc.
She read that D the entire way.
And
you
it
could
took-
see it in her eyes.
It took Wild 3 cutters to even get a throw off, too. Iwamoto, it's overthrown, but can they bring it in? Oh. Kircher picking up. Over to Finnegan. To Bunderson, who's unmarked. Looking for Williams. Can she do it? Oh. And I think just that edge was a little too, that angle was a little too high for Morgan. It didn't float enough for
Needs
Williams to pick it
a little
up.
flatter and out in front.
Fun fact, Morgan Williams in her first WL appearance.
Walter picking up, and San Diego setting up in a side stack, and it looks like Weaver is the ISO and probably Helton as the second.
Paige Kircher on the mark.
But Williams marking Weaver, incredible. Weaver with the disc
Under to Weaver.
to Helton,
Finds Ellis.
or Ellis, sorry, my bad.
Back to Walter.
To Walter,
Walter
who
with the
puts
block.
it up.
Justine? Nope.
Oh, and that's Rozicki Shaw. And it just is floating. Can they get it? Weaver can. Holy cow.
Finds Meredith.
Head
Two-
taps over the top, through the roof. Caitlin Weaver.
Holy. Oh my God. Just
Just out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. And I mean, she had the momentum. The 3-step jump can go really far.
Super Bloom 9.
But wow, incredible grab by Weaver.
Definitely one of those, you always talk about possession saving grabs. You don't really talk about the sky possession saving grab. It's
I
always
know.
the layout.
Yeah, where there were already 3 people there, and Weaver says, yoink.
We'd like to give a big thank you to all of our volunteers that have graciously given us
Wow.
their time to help make this event possible. We could not do this
All right, there's
without
2:15 and a
support.
half. It is 7-9. Wild is receiving.
The Wild loves you.
And let's see what happens. Looks like Helton is on, and it looks like, okay, good. Ellie Malik, she was standing in the shadow, and I did not see her. So I thought they only had 6 people on. But Ellie Malik with the pull, and it is.
It is.
Oh,
It went over the fence!
Fails.
Sasha and I were talking about it before the game, and Sasha was like, it's so wild that, not, I guess pun intended, that the disc doesn't really go over the fence here. And I was like, yeah, I don't think in any of my games that I've commentated the disc has gone over. Guess what happened? Manifesting works.
That went out really early.
Yeah.
Wow, that's 20 yards right in the red zone.
And Ellie Malik knew. And if you can see, San Diego has 3 defenders at the front of the stack to try and receive people, which means that front of stack cut is highly ineffective. And just a wrong way scooper. Oh, stall called, but they're going to just play through. Yeah, I would say it maybe depends on where the disc, you could have a slight advantage if you're in the middle, but moving faster is more important.
That's a really tough defense to get through if your offense is just come straight towards the disc.
Yes. Oh, and just a beautiful put up to Helton with no one there. Looking for Nissen. And just gives it right in the corner to Ellie Malik. Woof.
It's not fair that she's a lefty.
And there's 1:20 on the clock. I mean, that pull was unfortunate, and I'm sure Wild really wanted to capitalize on it. But the Super Bloom defense stopping those undercuts has just been, it's stifled any sort of Wild movement. That's why we've seen so many swings between the handlers. Because when you have 2 up front, it means that they can either help with those fills to the back handle set, or if someone is coming under, they're able to make that lane really skinny and or fully stop that cut. So I think Wild needs to make sure that they are cutting and they're sending many people in at once.
Right. And with the wind the way it is, even if those 3 players are up front, if someone throws it over the top, it's going to be floaty. They have time to be able to go and contest that disc.
Mm-hmm. It's incredibly smart defense by San Diego.
Let's go.
Pull by Hilton.
Yes.
Great. It's getting shady here. Terpstra with the disc. To Songer, kind of as an outlet.
These San Diego defenders are very tight.
Just downfield, it feels impossible for the Wild to get open because there are plays like that. Helton with the run through D.
Little swipe by Kayla Helton, who gets the disc.
Helton who puts it up. Wow, to Peden. Wow, yeah, that was just an incredibly, it was so smart. Even when Wild was running a horizontal stack, San Diego was able to stifle it. They were step for step with their defenders, and Wild wasn't, the handlers weren't moving enough to get those chunk yards, and that meant those downfield looks were very tight, which is how Helton got that run through.
Right. I feel like Wild been running a lot through the handlers, but it's been more of like a reset through the handlers, waiting for the downfield to do something. I feel like what you were saying?
Oh, I was going to say, I think the most successful we've seen the handlers move was in that zone at the initial start of the game.
Right. And so I think the handlers need to make more of their cuts up line. Like they need to do more strike cuts and, around the back cuts to be able to get this disc moving up the field rather than waiting and just throwing swings.
Ellie Malik with a redemption pull. Beautiful. Landed out, but it didn't go over the fence. Which is tough.
The bar.
She's had a lot of also really good pulls this game. She's incredible. There's 43 seconds left on the clock, for the game clock. We're fixing it. And we have, it looks like the Wild D-line out. So we have Kircher and Lober back.
I like this decision, putting the D-line out there. Sometimes, the offense just needs a little break. They need to reset their mind, and, you get your D-line out there to be able to, show them what to do.
Yeah, and even just give them a chance to say, like, hey, we're going to call a play. We're going to draw something up, and I believe you can do it. I'm just going to. I think contact called, so reset stall. But just give them some time to take a break. Because these points are going really quickly. All right, we can go back to play-by-play. Finnegan with the disc swings it over to Shelke. Time is out, so if Wild will end this possession, hopefully with a score, that is what they want, but it'll be a turn or a score to end the quarter. Oh, stall called. So unfortunately ending with a stall, which is worse. But yeah, I mean, I think this quarter has been a momentum shift for San Diego. I think they really locked in, especially adjusting to the altitude, and like they are able to make the defense, make Wild just work. Wild needs to change what they are doing to get through the San Diego defense instead of expecting San Diego to let them run through it.
Right. This San Diego team is very disciplined. They are very good. And yeah, you just need to make sure that we're smarter than them, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's been quite a good game so far. I think we've had some incredible plays, some really great snags. And we are about to go to half. So we will see you at the end of, for the start of the third quarter in just a second.
We will see you at the end of halftime.
Sorry.
Walk around the field up to the parking lot, and then we'll get a shot of you up in the parking lot.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man? And when this beat drop, I know they gon' lean. World debut, I know they gon' fiend. Everything Mississippi to the Palm Springs. Girls from brunettes down to blonde queens. You know you like that. 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 You know you like that.
We are thrilled to announce the official brewery for the Utah Wild 2025 season, Bewilder Brewing. You can find us celebrating every Utah Wild game this year at our local brew pub. Their huge projector screen, great food menu, and award-winning beer makes Bewilder a great home for our watch parties and after parties. Be wilder and head on over to Bewilder Brewing after the game for our official after party. This venue is 21 plus. We'd like to shout out two of Utah Wild's sponsors, Selfridge Counseling and WBT Industries. Their support of women and non-binary athletes helps make this season possible. For more information on these organizations, visit utahwildultimate.org/sponsors. Thank you all for sponsoring the Utah Wild. Planning your club ultimate season? Come to Ski Town, August 16th and 17th in Salt Lake City. There will be a women's, mixed, and open divisions. We are now accepting bids. Scan the QR code on the screen for the bid form or email skitownclassic@gmail.com for more information.
1, 2, 3, wow!
Norris now with the disc. Woo,
Whoa.
Nice layout by Kircher. And
Woo! Wow.
Bigham reels it in. The system, the spacing was good.
Oh,
Incredible. It's going to be a highlight reel. Sports Center top 10 right there. It's Rena Kawabata. And
Whoa!
a nice D.
That's Morgan Williams. She's also a Utah Wild rookie.
Oh, no. Get it again. And stall count is rising. It's going to be floating, and Kircher pulls it down with authority.
Oh.
Moulton has just been turning it up a little bit. We've got McKean with a nice placed huck over to Williams, and is she in? It is a goal. Cherwink with a huge huck to Williams. Can Williams reel it in? And she does. She's got sticky fingers, and it's a goal.
2 seconds to look downfield, and except for this point.
But she said no! She gets it! And McKean's first goal of her pro season. There she is. That was such a nice flow.
Welcome back to the second half of San Diego Super Bloom at Utah Wild. San Diego Super Bloom is about to start on defense. Super Bloom is currently up 11-7. Sasha, what have we seen so far?
We've seen at the beginning of the game, we saw everybody going back and forth kind of. And then Utah with their little break train went, and then the end of the first quarter happened. Second quarter was all San Diego from there. just putting a lot more pressure on this Utah Wild team and being able to come up with a lot more blocks.
Yeah, they were creating so many more turns and a much more stagnant Wild offense. So we'll see if Wild's been able to make those adjustments. Atwell with the disc, Super Bloom coming down in a junkie zone. Terpstra able to maintain possession. Back to Atwell. To Bigham. Swinging it to Kircher. To Terpstra. Over to Norris, but just not tall enough. Nissen with the disc now. And Dean Ali Malik is fully unmarked, which I think Terpstra is learning right now. But we have Bow with the disc over to Schiltz, who puts it up, and Abby Davis with a layout D.
Breakout player of the year last year for the league, Abby Davis, getting fully horizontal.
Incredible. Songer picking up, and San Diego back in that zone. Back into their end zone now. Atwell just looking at a lot of different people.
Ooh.
Norris bringing it in, maybe also with Ellie Malik.
Looks like a collision.
I hope they're both okay.
Amy Norris with the disc, colliding with Dina.
Norris still has the disc, I believe, in hand. So I don't know if that's a turn or not. Or if they're just talking about just checking in, saying everyone's okay.
And Dino really trying to get that Callahan.
I understand. We haven't also seen a lot of calls this game. We've seen, I think, 2 foul calls, but that's really it.
Yeah, it's been pretty clean.
Which we love to see, even with some big plays. Hruzhnikova with the disc. Wild still in their end zone. To Norris.
Who finds Amy.
They are putting a lot of pressure on these handlers up front. And they are not able to get the disc down the field.
Yeah, Wild sending a lot of their cutters back. Atwell with the disc now. Oh, and just Hruzhnikova misses the dish. I believe Abrams picking up right on the end zone.
Kayak on the mark.
With a big around.
What a great
wow. And Bow able to bring that in. Easy peasy. And that is a break to start the quarter and a half.
It's tough. And San Diego's up 5 now. We're in the second half. Utah really needs to bring up the pressure. They need to, well, first get a hold and then get on defense and put a lot of pressure on this San Diego team to be able to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think Wild needs to adjust their cutting patterns. And I mean, yeah, the Super Bloom defense has just been stifling. It's a very stagnant offense out there, and you could tell when there were about 5 Wild cutters back and like 4-ish San Diego Super Bloom defenders operating in probably a 10-foot by 10-foot square. We have Helton with the pull.
Helton with the pull for San Diego, and that's flying. Carly
Atwell centering to Songer.
Centers to Songer.
San Diego back in their zone because, you know, if it works, it works.
If it works, it works. Ooh. And Davis brings it in. That was Zettner trying to get that D. I don't know if there was a call or not, but there definitely was a lot of contact. So
Davis with the disc.
Davis sends it back to Terpstra. And Atwell over to Songer. Wild has lost yards so far. Gets it back to Terpstra and Songer, just dishing it to each other. I think there is some sort of call. I'm uncertain if it is because the defender is really far away, and so whether it is appropriate for her to be the staller. Because we have, I would say, I believe it might be, oof, I can't read that number, but 99 and the player that is currently getting talked to are, I would say, equidistant away. And so either that is a double team, I guess, with Atwell close. Oh, contested fast count, that is the call. Then I was just waxing poetic for something completely wrong.
It's okay. It's our job to yap.
Yes. And that is Peden out there, 96. I can finally read the number. And I think the observer is just helping clarify rules. Make sure everyone's on the same page.
Stall coming in on
Oh.
4.
And yeah,
Songer taps in the disc.
Songer over to Terpstra. Back to Songer. Just keep doing what you're doing. To Atwell. To Terpstra, getting some yards back. To Songer. And Wild handlers are trying to move the defenders more with their fakes, but while the defenders are biting, there's not a second option once Wild moves those defenders. They are still moving the defenders, but there's still no other option for them to look at.
We're finally back towards the middle of the field, be able to have more room to play.
And I think they're roughly back to where they started. But, okay, there we go. Davis gets the disc on the other side of the field. Swings it back to Atwell. A blade to Songer. Oh, and she's just not able to bring it in. A little too spicy today. Helton picking up. Oh, yeah.
I like the decision. The execution wasn't the best.
Yeah. Helton with the disc.
Helton back to Avery.
Over to Jones.
Songer on the mark.
Oh, with a break over to Weaver. And Helton streaking upline. And just a nice blade. While Seedall was kind of on Helton, she wasn't really taking away a ton of space. And so when Helton made that strike, she was able to just take advantage of the rest of the field, making it really, really easy for Weaver.
Right. It looked like whoever defending Kayla Helton just kind of bit a little too hard on the break side and allowed that easy open side flick to her.
Sounds like these are Liz Funderson's nieces.
Yeah, I think that Wild might be getting a little panicky. I think on defense they're definitely biting on every single movement, which, I mean, when you are down by 6, that is kind of what you need to do, but making sure your downfield defense are also set up appropriately is just as important. It looks like we're going to have Ellie Mellick with the disc, and the Wild's traditional D-line back on O-line. Yeah, 'cause there's no point in running an O-line to the ground, making them really tired, and giving them a chance to reset, create a plan, and get some water. It's hot. It's not hot out here, but you're still working hard. Ellie Malik with the pull. Finnegan with the catch. Over to Kircher. To McClurkin. And San Diego still out in that zone. To Kircher. Oh, that was a great attempt by Juan. McClurkin over to Finnegan. To Kircher. To Williams. Over to Hayes. To Kircher. To Hayes. Oh, and just right through Hayes' fingers. Just trying to think of what you were going to do next.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that shows what the Wild O-line is missing in Kircher's skills. She was eating that zone up, while the other Wild O-line handlers are just, they're waiting for the swing. They're waiting for someone else to cut through. Stall called on Iwamoto. Contest.
On the field.
And then it is unfortunate not being able to have 2 pages on the team.
Wow.
We need like that veteran handler presence on both lines. And I feel like the offensive line handlers are a little younger for the most part. So there's not as much experience as, as a page catcher.
It is a
Utah
turn. So it is Wild disc.
Right. It looks like there wasn't a stall, but then it came into a turnover. So the disc is here at the 45.
Wow. Justine. Oh, and then Ellie Malik with the run through D. Ellie Malik looking for Juan. And just a little too spicy, but, I mean, an advantageous place for the disc to stop for Super Bloom. McClurkin picking up just right away, which is so smart because she doesn't have a stall. Over to Finnegan. San Diego steps up in their zone quite quickly, which I do commend. Hayes back to Kircher. Over to McClurkin. To
And
Finnegan.
This zone is so dangerous because both lines play the exact same zone. So they all, like, you can, interchange any player onto any line, and they all know exactly what they're doing. And that's why it's so dangerous and so effective for them.
Nice small ball action happening.
Oh, and just a bobble from Finnegan. San Diego taking the time to set up. Iwamoto walking away.
Bobble.
And it looks like Ellis is picking up
Play for Super Bloom.
with a break throw over to Ellie Melick.
Ellis with a throw to Dina.
Wow,
Finds
over to Bile. To Walter. Ellie Melick with an outside in, and just, Juan is not able to
man.
bring that in.
The wind just dropped it so hard right in
Wow.
front of her.
Paige Kircher
Kircher picking
in
up.
the coffin corner.
And it looks like San Diego's back in person. Maybe. Oh, and McClurkin with the bid.
To save the Utah Wild from a turnover.
McClurkin first year on the Wild, but no stranger.
And
Wow.
Wild comes down.
No
3
stranger.
people.
Oh, I think a stall is called.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense. It was a...
Yeah.
She held the disc for a long time, and especially if they started the stall when she caught the disc on the ground, that's 3 to 4 seconds right there based
Right.
on how quickly they count.
Yeah, McClurkin, no stranger to playing in the professional leagues. Former Indy Red player.
And I believe a timeout was called. I am uncertain if that was for San Diego or Wild. I feel like I saw a San Diego player sign timeout, but I'm yet again. Let's see who stays out there. That actually doesn't help
That
because this is
doesn't
an O point for the Wild, where the defense, the traditional D line is out there, and San Diego has a lot of swaps between lines. So we will all find out together.
But it does look like the D-line is staying out on the field being talked to by the coaches.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that this is a San Diego timeout. I don't know.
You can say it's a San Diego timeout. I'm going to
right.
wish that it's a Utah timeout, and we're going to see who's right.
Okay.
It looks like San Diego D-line is still out there. I see Nissen out there and Abrams, who have traditionally been playing the D-line. Helton is out there, but she can play whatever she wants.
Right. She's been playing a lot of D-line this game, though.
Yeah.
So, again, no idea.
Nope, no clue. Put your votes in the comments. Looks like Bunderson is
We are on off. Wild's on offense.
Wild's on offense.
There we go.
Wow.
We got it.
Incredible possession saving call by a timeout.
Veteran call, coaches.
And Bunderson picking up. And Super Bloom back in that zone.
The nice big cup.
Over to McClurkin. To Bunderson. To Kircher. Just moving so quickly together. Kircher trying to tell handlers to get yards. Bunderson saves it after a bobble. To McClurkin. To Williams. Over to Bunderson. With a big swing over to Kircher, who's able to find Cherwank. Break through that zone a little bit more. Swings back to McClurkin. Over to a wide open Bunderson. I think Super Bloom's going back into a person. But Morgan Williams is unmarked, which, okay. Helton saw that. But, and just a contested throw to Hayes. I believe she's calling foul. I would assume it's a foul just because she may not have known that the player was there. But uncertain what will happen.
Yeah, I believe that Hayes is arguing that, she got hit as she was jumping up, but Abby Schultz probably said you weren't going to catch that anyways.
Yeah.
And
it
turns out no foul.
Yeah, either no foul or they went to the observers who ruled no foul. Let's see, Abrams with the disc, who puts it up to Phillips, who's not able to bring it in. Long point. Bunderson picking up with an inside to Kircher, a little spicy with Helton right there, but Morgan Williams with the disc now. looking back for Bunderson, who makes sure they bring it in.
Put on a show for the crowd.
Over to Finnegan, who puts it up for Cherwink. There's some pressure from Abrams. It's floaty enough. Oh, and Cherwink not able to make that second bid. Great D by Abrams. Great body position. And yet again, it's that wind. So since it was an outside-in throw, it caught the wind and floated for just probably a scooch too long.
All right, fans, let's hear it
We have
for your
Nissen
Wild
picking up.
defense.
It looks like a side stack between Phillips and Helton. Oh, Finnegan putting on some tight pressure. It looked like Helton brought it in, but I'm uncertain what next steps will be.
Looks like a call by Helton.
Assuming it is a call because there was some contact on the play. And now they're going to just talk about it. They can choose to either send it back or ask the observer for his opinion.
I like watching their hand movements and acting it out because I can't hear them talk.
My favorite is when someone like falls and they try and reenact the fall. Foul. Okay, it looks like I think they are upholding the foul call from the observer. Helton with the disc.
And that's going to be Super Bloom disc. Kayla Helton with the disc.
That was great pressure by
Abrams just
Finnegan,
going
though.
deep.
Hawk goes
Catches
off.
Kircher trying to put him under.
For Abrams.
But a little too far for Abrams. That's that. Mountain air.
Kircher to pick up.
Kircher with an around to Finnegan. A great around to Hayes, but it's just a little too high. So Nissen being able to get that possession. Over to Helton. To Abrams. With a nice inside to Bow. That's Schiltz. To Helton, but not in, and I don't know if she needs to go back or not because she was
Yeah.
about 5 yards into the end zone.
Yeah, that's a
So that would
travel.
technically be a travel. I can hear the crowd yell, that's a travel. So yeah,
So it does go back with Helton on the goal line.
on the goal line.
Coming back to Helton, who's on the doorstep.
So yeah, she needed to run it back and tap it in for it to not be a travel. Oh, and it just
I think
fades
Justine
on
got
that
a
break.
piece of that.
Ooh!
Utah Wild disc.
Bunderson picking up. To Kircher.
Great cut by Paige.
Just beautiful. Over to Finnegan. There's a streaking Justine, but Helton's mark is so strong. And Helton gets a piece of it.
Hand block by Kayla Helton.
With Helton on, Finnegan couldn't even get it to the open side.
Oh,
Oh,
great bid. by
great
Finnegan.
bid by Finnegan. But Helton brings it in with the bookends. What a point. That was so long. And that
was a
was
long point.
a Super Bloom break still.
We only have a minute and 35 seconds left on
That
the clock.
took up a big old chunk of time.
Yeah, it's not what Utah wants right now.
That is not what Utah wants, and I think that just shows specifically the power of Paige Kircher. And I think I said this before when Paige was shredding up that zone, but that is what the Wild O-line is missing right now. They aren't having someone who's cutting through the cup, ushering people through to make sure that we are gaining, that Wild is gaining yards no matter what. And that is why there's so much stagnation, because I think they are expecting Paige to be there, and she's not.
Right.
And Kayla Helton, what a player.
Kayla Helton is a player.
All right, so there's 1:35 left on the clock,
Hampton getting the crowd going.
and then there's only one more quarter left.
Super Bloom pull. Cat
Songer picking up over to Atwell.
Dishy to Carly Atwell.
To Bigham was wide open, but the cup was able to smother that. Looks like they're doing more of a person downfield, but a sag on the handlers. They're able to break through by Songer going deep, going a little bit further downfield. Terpstra over to Songer again. Back to Terpstra. To Songer, trying to get some more width in the field.
Handlers
To
are
Atwell.
churning.
Ooh, Moulton, while Weaver was running through.
Comes down with it. Oh.
And I think that was a foul, which I think Weaver called on herself. Which we love self-awareness.
Yeah.
Kate Moulton will keep the disc.
Over to Atwell.
Would have been an incredible block. Little hand block running back.
I know. Just a little too wide for Songer.
But the Utah Wild
So that's a turn. But before that, they were cooking a little bit more.
Alexandra Stambaugh to pick up.
Stambaugh picking up.
I think the foul kind of messed up their mojo a little bit. Not saying that. I mean, I would never say that Caitlin Weaver did it on purpose, but it did mess them up a little bit.
It did
I
stop
think.
momentum.
Exactly.
And Jones trapped on the sideline. Oh, if
It's a stall.
I believe it was a stall, and I mean a turn no matter what. So Atwell puts it up for Moulton, just a lot too far.
But I think they're still deciding on if this stall
Oh, I mean, I kind of have to assume that
Okay, so the turnover is right here at the stall instead of the turnover being
center field.
center field, which saves possession for Utah in
And
this situation.
I think it should technically add time back on the clock, but I don't know if our technology's prepared for that.
Got 28 seconds left.
Or VAR. Terpstra with the disc. Drops it back to Songer. Over to Terpstra again. And just the Super Bloom defenders are so tight. Atwell is able to get through to Songer. Wow, changing momentum. Oh, and Terpstra just hits the wrist instead of the hands. And we have Ishii. That is the clock, so that is just going to be end of quarter. Yeesh.
Some long points in there.
Yeah, a lot of turns. I'm interested to see if there are any tactical changes made, or maybe if Wild thinks about pulling Kircher over to the O-line, or they're trying to build confidence in that handler core that's playing in a game together for the first time. But, I mean, just props to San Diego. Their defense is so tight. Like, I saw Alexa Stambaugh being so tight on Atwell that she was not an outlet at any point. So we will see what's going to happen in our last quarter. There is a 7-point difference, which I think the Wild has come back from before, but they'd have to make a lot of big changes. So we will see. We will be back in about 1 minute.
It's also Cody's birthday.
And we are back for the final quarter of San Diego Super Bloom at Utah Wild. Wild currently at 7 points, while San Diego Super Bloom has taken over with 14. I think San Diego's just defensive dominance has fully stopped any Wild offensive momentum. We saw some blazes of glory during the first quarter, but it really has been San Diego's game from then on.
Yeah, I think they just had to adjust to the field, to the wind, to the conditions, to the altitude, and from there they've been flying.
And they are going to start on offense, which they did not do much during the third quarter. Did Wild score during the third quarter?
I am not sure.
I'm
Maybe once.
Maybe once. All right, we have Ellis over to Walter. To Iwamoto. Over to Ellis, who finds a nice inside to Juan. Ellie Melick just flips it over to Bow. To Walter. Or Schiltz. I'm so sorry. I got my 6s and 8s mixed up. Iwamoto with Walter just working together. To Walter. To Ellis. So just try and get things moving side to side. Ellie Melick back to Ellis. To Iwamoto. Ellis just on the strike. With a nice inside, but McClurkin is able to eat that up. Hayes with the disc. Looking at Kircher, but it's too tight from Iwamoto. And just a hand block there from Juan. Ellis picking up over to Ellie Melick. And it looks like Wild's going back into that zone. Iwamoto is able to let it float out to Walter with a streaking Ellie Melick, but it just fades really quickly.
Yeah, it's seeming everything in this end zone has just been dying really quickly, while everything over on the other side of the field has been floating a little bit more.
That's wind, baby. It's just a piece of plastic out there. Actually, it's a lovely Discraft disc. We have McClurkin with a nice inside to Finnegan. McClurkin, I believe, is a lefty as well. To Schelke. To Kircher. To a wide open Williams on a horizontal cut. Ooh, and just right through Kircher's hands. Iwamoto picking up and puts it up to Ellie Melick. A great bet, but it's just a little too far. And I think that just shows some of the elevation. It makes the disc fly farther, fly faster. And if you're playing in San Diego, which is sea level and humid, the disc flies slower. So I think there it would have been a perfect throw.
Yeah, there's not as much air to get through here. I mean, there's not really much air.
There's not much air. Kircher picking up. Over to McClurkin with an inside to Schelke.
A lot of switching from this San Diego line.
Over to Morgan. Williams. To Schelke on the strike. With a nice burrow from Williams. Oh, with an inside to McClurkin, but she just wasn't expecting it.
Got a wide open Abby Schultz in the end zone.
Just running, waving her hands. But Iwamoto's slowing it down, and I think Wild is still in a mostly person defense. Ellis over. Oh, a timeout called. Oh. So Super Bloom is going to have a chance to reset, get their things in order. And yeah, we'll see if Wild makes any personnel changes, but I think they've been doing a good job stopping the disc. It really is just throws and catches for them right now.
Right, a lot of little miscues and just bobbles and drops. That's kind of been what's the story, really, of the game, other than the defensive pressure from the Super Bloom.
And let me paint you a word picture right now.
Okay.
When you were looking back at when Wild was in their horizontal stack, Super Bloom had one person on the front of stack fulfilling that. They had one person right next to that front of stack defender ready to receive the next open side under or that second cut. On the break side, they had one person, and then they had, I think, an extra person ready to pick people up on that open side. They had 4 defenders basically almost in a wall containing that vertical stack.
I love that defense. It's kind of like an old school, like clammy type defense.
And I mean, Wild better make changes because, I mean, this is peak scouting material. Like, it is, they are being stopped. And while, I mean, the defensive line here has been able to make some good offensive momentum, they're going to be able to, they're going to need to be able to do this for both lines and move really quickly and consistently. All right, it looks like we have Abrams with the disc and Weaver back with an ISO, I want to say Schiltz, but I'm not 100% sure. 36. Bow.
Abrams to bring the disc into play for
Oh, that's Abby Schultz.
Oh, that's Abby Schultz. Okay,
Yes.
6s and 8s, man. Weaver with the disc, looking back over to Schultz, who scoops it up.
spinning Schultz.
Wow. Uses that momentum to just get up immediately. Over to Ishii.
Back to Schultz.
To Schultz. Just a dishy to Abrams. With Weaver right behind, right on that sideline. And while Cherwing tries to bid, but a fantastic grab by, I believe it's Nissen.
Score for San Diego Super
Yeah,
Blues.
great effort by Justine there.
I also want to shout out McClurkin on that defensive possession. While she was on the mark, she saw someone going up line and was able to help contain that momentum and make it a very difficult option, and then like chop stepped her way back in onto the mark.
Utah Wild 7.
That's not easy to do. You got to be really quick on your feet
You
for
gotta be
that.
so heads up.
Because as soon as you bite that up line, that
That
around,
open side, yeah.
yeah, that break side is going to be wide open for a throw.
All right, if you want to see a Utah Wild score, let's hear it.
So yeah, now there's an 8-point difference. While I still have hope for a great game, I think there's been a lot of momentum going in San Diego Super Bloom's favor.
All right, let's bring the hype.
Yeah,
man.
seems like it's all Super
Big
Bloom right
ball
now.
by
It's- yeah,
Dina.
What's their flower? Poppies? It's all poppies right now.
Lily
That was
Church
Ellie
is
Malik
down
with the
it.
pole, centering over to Songer.
Back in the zone.
If it works, it works. Over to Songer, swinging it, and just turfs it over to Atwell.
Throw.
We have Helton picking up.
Turn.
There's everything going wrong for Utah right now.
Yes.
Goes to Jones.
Jones with the disc,
Grishnikova on the mark.
putting up Chiki-Io, and Davis just eats that up. Ooh, ooh. Okay, good. Songer with the disc. She landed kind of funny, and I got nervous. Atwell now in the center of the field with just a nice, easy flat throw to Norris, finding that space in that zone that wasn't fully set up yet.
Who dishes back to Songer.
Dish over to Songer, swings it over to Atwell, completing the swing to Terpstra to change the field. But San Diego is moving so well together. They are moving consistently and at the same pace, which means Wild isn't finding those gaps. Or like Atwell was trying to follow the disc, but was following directly behind Stambaugh, which means she was not an option. We have Davis with the disc, bobbles it, but brings it in.
Davis looking.
Looking over to Atwell. To Terpstra. To Atwell. Over to Songer. Who puts it over the wall to Hruzhnikova, but is not able to bring it in.
Man, that was a great find.
Yeah, that was a really nice look. And that's what Wild needs to break that zone. Helton swings it over to Stambaugh. Ellie Malik with the disc now. Shooting for Helton. Can't.
Big throw.
Oof. And even with the bitch, can't bring it in.
But that's going to be a little too far.
Yeah, I do think Wild needs to make San Diego huck it more.
Atwell to pick
After 3 or 4 huck turns.
up. Wild disc. Wild's going to work it.
We have Songer. Back over to Atwell. To Terpstra.
Honestly, you might need Wild to hug it more.
Yeah. To Terpstra. I'd be interested to look at the throwing map after this game. And the turn map, which yet again on the WL stats site. Songer with the disc, looking up for Norris. It's floaty, and Ellie Malik is there.
Norris, but that is pulled out of the sky.
But I mean, I would rather them take those looks than turn it on a swing pass.
Correct.
Avery.
And I think they're a little nervous, seeing Dana Elamelik that deep
And
because
it's a-
she's tall.
Finding Dina.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness. Davis being able to, just fantastic help defense there to stop Ellie Malik from grabbing that. Holy cow.
The year in 2024. Shout out Abby Davis.
Now we got Kayla Helton deep. Kayla and Dina switching.
I think they're probably doing that just based on where they are at the field.
Yeah.
Because they're both incredibly competent players that no one really wants to. If you see someone marked by them, it's pretty tough to throw. We have Terpstra up to Songer. And we have Atwell moving out of that handler space to maybe try and get some height back there, as well as get some more momentum.
Terpstra on the sideline, dishes it to
They're
Songer.
still on the sideline.
Songer's looking.
Songer
Back
over to Terpstra. Over to Atwell, who finds Ruzhnikova and just...
Slip through the hands.
It's gonna result
And I
in
think these
turnover.
Wild players are not stretching this deep at all, really.
They're not stretching it wide either.
Right.
Like, Ruzhnikova was able to find that space because she was moving horizontally.
Ooh.
And another
Okay.
Cheeky little inside throw there.
A little too cheeky.
Yeah, I think if these outside cutters, looks like it's Corey Bingham in kayak there. If they stretch Kayla Helton deep, it's going to open a lot more space underneath for Kat Songer to hit those over the top blades that she's been loving.
Yeah, you see Bigham just moving right in, which means that the field's a lot shorter, but Norris is able to stretch it wide and make that grab. Oh, and just, yet again, just a tough throw right to the ground to Atwell. Ishii picking up. Over to Ellie Mellick, looking for Helton. Sheesh. And just a nice break throw over to Zetner. I feel like Zetner has had a quieter game.
Right.
She had a really great game against Arizona previously. I don't remember her exact stats, but I remember her being pretty high on the assist list. And yeah, I think she's someone just really consistent on San Diego.
There's a lot of those on this team.
Yeah, you could say that probably about most people.
Yeah. They are very good, very talented.
Yeah. No, and I think that just showcases the San Diego community. While they have some incredible stars, I know they have worked really hard to also grow their community. I believe Kayla Helton has been in San Diego for a while, and I think she's done a lot, as well as, Dina Ellie Mellick just trying to make sure Frisbee is strong in San Diego. And by showcasing of this game and their Arizona game, they are.
They are strong.
Oh, fantastic pull by Iwamoto. As long as it fades the other way. Oh!
Not over the
Commentator
fence this time.
curse. I really don't have a great perspective for angles. So
Yeah, depth perception is a little
my depth
off.
perception is pretty... I am staring straight into the sun. But Kircher picking up, I think they're trying to figure out where the disc went out. Kircher wanted to go up a lot farther. But you see San Diego in that zone again. And it looks like, I'm assuming Weaver's going to be the primary mark. Stambaugh was during that last point. And just, Weaver's so good on both sides of the disc. And Kircher just overthrows Finnegan.
Little sticky fingers.
Kircher can't connect with Finnegan.
Iwamoto looking to pick up.
Iwamoto to pick up for Super Bloom.
Oh, and it just, oh, wow, it bounces off of Biles' chest, but she's able to bring it back. But conservation of greatness, the disc turns. Kircher with the disc now.
Centers to Kircher.
Over to Finnegan, completed to Shelke. We love our Montana crew. Finnegan. Ooh, yeah, Bile really wanted that. To Kircher, working with Finnegan.
Finnegan going every other.
To Kircher, just striking up line.
Utah Wild on the doorstep.
With a nice inside to Ludak. Back to Kircher, who puts it wide to Lober, and she brings it in. Another Montana player.
It's an incredible throw, an incredible spot.
Yeah, and Kircher, that point, did a really great job moving her mark around to get that space. So she faked the inside, faked the around, and was able to get that inside again to Lober.
And that's the first goal for Utah this quarter with a minute left on the clock. Not looking great for the Utah Wild.
Yes, but I would say it's still really exciting to see your D-line do some offense.
Oh, yeah.
And they were able to move it through even though there were some turns. And I think especially with that point, while, I mean, San Diego Super Bloom's defense should not be discounted, as we've said this entire game. But it does seem like a lot of the Wild turns recently are just catches and throws.
Right.
Like they're throwing to the ground, it's bouncing off of hands. I think either they're trying to think about what they are doing next, or they've held the disc for too long and are like, oh crap, now I gotta throw it, and it just hits the ground.
Rushing a little bit.
Bunderson with the pull. And I believe it looks like a kind of side stack situation. Nissen picking up. Looking for Ellie Melick. Finds her. Still on that sideline. Who puts it up. Looking for Schiltz. I'm assuming, high stall. And a foul called.
Foul called by Schiltz on number 10 and McCurkin.
Oof, I don't know. I mean, it's hard when people are both going up for the disc, and it is just like you feel a body. And, I mean, it's hard to tell if that body prevented you from catching or if it's just that's a game. Like, this is playing sports.
Right.
So I believe they're asking the observer.
Observer
No
says
foul.
No foul. Utah disc on the cone.
40 seconds left on the clock. So hopefully Wild knows that it's a possession game. But Bunderson loves to put it deep. There we go. Looking for Lober and Sherwink, but Ellie Melick is there. Oh, just off of Lober's hands. Abrams picking up. Lober on mark. And there's an ISO with Schiltz and Ellie Melick working together. Schiltz with the disc. Over to Ellie Melick. Over to Bow. Still just working on that open side.
One more throw should do it.
Swings it over to Abrams.
They can hold.
It looks like there was a foul called. It looks like
Injury called.
Rutland. I'm assuming there was some contact, which is why there was a foul, but don't love that we saw her on the ground.
5 seconds left on the clock.
All right, I don't think Wild subbed anyone off. We have Lober on mark again.
This still is Super Bloom.
And 21 Phillips subbed in for Rutland. And inside to Ellie Melick. Morgan really working for it, but that is clock, and they put it up to Ellie Melick, who brings it in. And that is going to be our Discraft play of the game. I think we just saw some really easy offense. Morgan Williams really trying to do her best to stop that D. And that is going to be our Discraft play of the day. And Ellie Melick staying cool under pressure and getting just a very nice goal. Fantastic job by San Diego Super Bloom. That is their second win of the season.
Second win of the season, 4 more games left. Each of these games are so important since there's only 6 games in the entire season.
I know.
So it's a tough loss for the Wild. They really have to win out the rest of their games in order to be able to make it to championship weekend at this point, I believe.
Yeah, and Wild will play at home again, I believe, in May. So they're going to have a streak of away games after this. But they will be at home versus Arizona Sidewinders. It's going to be a doubleheader with the Salt Lake City UFA team Shred. And so that's going to be really exciting. We'll be, I think, in a different stadium, so it'll be a different look for us. But I think it's been such an incredible game, such a Wild show of athleticism from both sides. I think really the key takeaways are San Diego defense. They were able to stifle. They were able to work together and do a lot of switches, which is something that takes a lot of chemistry. While on Wild, I think we saw some really strong defensive play. We saw some good defensive offense from that D-line. And, I think we'll see I'm interested to see if there are any changes made between this game and the next game.
Right, and this Wild team is very young. And so I think it'll just get better and better as the season goes on, and maybe even the next season as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things where we were missing still a lot of leaders, and we saw some really just bright stars still. I'm not counting this wild team out,
Nope.
but sometimes they just need a little bit more time to cook.
Makes sense to me.
Well, on that end, we are so excited that you were able to tune in. There is, I think, another WL game going on, so if you're watching the live stream, go on over to that game. Keep your frisbee going. But we are so happy that you tuned in. My name is Leah Smith.
I'm Sasha Vogel. Super, super grateful for the Utah Wild for allowing me to do this for them
We
today.
loved having you. All right, everybody, have a good weekend, and be sure to turn in to more Western Ultimate League right now and next weekend.